The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good.
Hi, Tom.
How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico de Haan and Paige Clarke.
Well, good morning. I'm Paige Clarke. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, more natural, wild world.
To recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms, and I'm Nico de Haan.
And Nico, I forgot to ask you what the temperature is.
It's 41 degrees,
41.
a beautiful day
We're
downtown.
41 and we're having fun.
That's right.
It is a little chilly here. We're not used to this. We're kind of wimps, but I'll be going to Tahoe next week, so I think it'll be really cold there.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, make sure you pick up our Health Signals newsletter. We just came out with a new one this week. It's great stuff. Yeah, last week.
Yeah, in fact, now the next one's coming out on the 1st, which is this Friday. So
that's easy for you to remember. They come out on the 1st and the 15th. You can stay connected with our show. And we also want you to stay healthy through this winter season with the Primal Edge, which gives you the necessary nutrients that are powered by nature's miracle molecule to help you get the good stuff in.
And the bad stuff out. And I got some news for you, too. Beginning of the 1st of the month, we're going to have a sale on the Primal Edge and the newsletters together. You can buy a month's supply at a time. You can buy the newsletters by the year if you want to get a bigger discount. So wait for that. We'll announce it on our show next week, and the banners will be going up on Friday.
And we're taking your calls at 877-927-6648.
Okay, what are we talking about this
Well,
morning?
remember last week we were talking about keto a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we got some feedback on that. And I saw this article I wanted to share. And this is by Naomi Whittle. I really like her. She's kind of a real forerunner of autophagy, getting the body into autophagy.
Which means that discarding the damaged and old cells
Cleaning
and getting
up.
them out, cleaning up.
Which to me makes total sense, that our bodies are totally capable of cleaning themselves. Sometimes they need a little help with some other things at different times, but our general design is to be self-cleaning organisms.
That's
but
right.
I digress. She has some great articles, and I wanted to kind of do the show on some of her stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about these 5 dirty keto mistakes you may never have heard of. Maybe that might be some of the reasons you haven't had the success with the keto diet, or to get away from name-calling of diets, just a lifestyle where you're incorporating more healthy fats. Let's see if this might help you.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go into what fasting holds and some of the tips to making fasting a success for you.
Yeah, and these kind of go together because what we're trying to do is follow the natural path that our ancestors had, years ago, without technology, without farming, without husbandry, and really.
Right, Nico?
It's that basis for our show. It's the basis for the diet. It's kind of the basis for paleo, kind of the basis that was even for the earlier diets. What was the guy who came up with the diet first? Eating mostly just meats, but not caring about the quality. Atkins.
Yes.
So Dr. Atkins, he was a researcher, and he's a chemist, so a chemist thinks a little bit along different lines. He wasn't too concerned with the quality. I
don't think the whole movement was as big back then anyway.
That's right, and we were just discovering it, and,
in terms of healthful food.
Yeah, because we have been so blinded by advertising starting after World War II, and probably before that, too, when they came out with these foods like
TV
the
dinners?
cereals, TV dinners, certainly. We had the wars, so the wars made packaged food out in the field, had to be very important for the warriors that were going out there and fighting. So you couldn't be cooking a meal. You had to have something zip, and you got it.
And that kind of brainwashed all of us to think, hey, we should be zipping our meals too.
Kind of like that. So go on.
Yeah, so what I think also, it was cold this weekend. And I really do think we have to stop and think. When people were cold, it was just everything they could do to keep their body heat. I don't think they were sitting around grazing every little hours. I mean, maybe if they prepared well, they had hearty foods, I believe, with fats that sustain them. They certainly weren't having bean sprouts and wheatgrass smoothies.
No. Bean sprouts were only available a certain time of the year when they sprouted.
That's my point.
Yeah.
And although we know those can be healthful foods, I believe everything has a season.
Well, one of the things my wife Ellen says when it turns cold, she said, "Where is the bone broth?"
I'm with Ellen. It should be, you know, I think probably they had a fire and the broth left over from bones, because it might be weeks till they find something else,
bones in there.
and then they would continue to eat the broth to keep them going. And I think we have to kind of look at what this picture looks like. We were not sitting here eating all these foods, bananas and fruits.
Remember how scarce food was during the winter, especially if you're crossing that 40th parallel. You know, you're getting up north. It's tough. There's nothing growing. If you didn't save anything of that, then you had to go out hunting. And probably what you did in the summertime was save some of that meat. Maybe you dried it out. Maybe you pickled it or whatever you did to it. But
made the pemmican.
Made the pemmican. These are preparations that our ancestors did because they had to.
And that's what scares me. We don't have to do anything.
That's right.
And
so we don't.
And who do you want to be around?
I want to when people know what they're doing. That's
doo-doo hits the fan.
Yeah.
So, well, let's get back to the 5 dirty keto mistakes you may never have heard of. And there's lots of people that have been kicking off the new year with a new vision of a keto lifestyle or healthier lifestyle in general, and they want to transform their health. And it's kind of exciting. January is a new beginnings month, right,
Nico? It sure is, yeah. Very important.
And so I really think I wanted to cover the fact that many people have this journey to wellness, and you have to make adjustments along the way. And one of those can be realizing that perhaps much of the foods we eat are not healthful. And we see a chronic situation of chronic inflammation. We're seeing this chronic in the populations. People are just low-grade simmering.
Yeah, and it's not just about the food. It's bad quality of food, but also the electronics that we have. The environment is compromised because of all the pesticides and all these different things we're doing to the food. So we have a lot of things that we want to get rid of in our body. So this becomes very important.
So Naomi's given us a little background on her story, and she said at that point, when she was having some inflammation, she decided to be more restrictive on carbohydrate intake, more like 75% fat, 20% protein, and 5% carbs, very low carb.
That's very nice.
And she found it extremely beneficial and for herself, being a person who's experiencing inflammation, and has seen it repeatedly helpful to others that have autoimmune or metabolic disorders. Guys, metabolic is really a catch-all name for the chronic disease that we're really suffering.
Yeah.
We're not really getting TB. We're not really getting the measles, unless, of course, you're a vaccinated person, you're shedding it on all the unvaccinated, blaming it on the unvaccinated.
Yes, what we're doing is really disintegrating ourselves in a sense. We're slowly but surely having these things pop up, and we don't know why. And it pops up maybe in your 30s or 40s, probably in your 50s and 60s, and then the next 30 years are going to be miserable if you live that long.
Yeah, so many people are seeing the benefits of keto. We kind of led into this a little bit, setting the stage, but we're going to take a short break, and we'll go over those 5 things that Naomi thinks really can give you the power to be successful in becoming a fat burner.
That's right. In the meantime, pick up some Primal Edge with the humic and fulvic acid in it.
Be right back.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com. Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And welcome back to the show. One thing about the keto diet that I like, it kind of tells us that we were going in the right direction when we were doing paleo. Because it's kind of scientific proof of how the body is really working. And this has really opened our eyes to many. What it got people involved in is all the doctors and researchers started really researching when keto came about. They didn't on paleo so much, but when keto, because it's more of a term that they used and didn't understand for a long time.
Right, right. So but it really embraces how our bodies actually were designed to work, I think.
Exactly. So individuals can stray from the clean keto diet and enter the dangerous realm of the dirty keto diet. And so we've always said that the quality of the food that we have is the prime importance of things. And this is what they're talking about.
That's right. And so, number one, where we can get into trouble is when we are ingesting rancid vegetable oils. And there's really no delicate way to say it. Toxic fats truly are killing us, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about making the choice to get the right kind of fats into your diet. Yes. And the toxic ones are the modern day culture's profit, generating industrial oils that are stocking the shelf as you go down the grocery store, and most all of those oils that you see in all those clear bottles are rancid before you even open them.
Yeah, and they include things like canola oil, soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, cottonseed oil, and the grapeseed oils, also rapeseed, which is also canola.
And the reason these fats are used is because they're cheap. We've told you the story about canola. It was actually designed for machine lubrication.
And cottonseed oil was too, and probably most of these things were used that way. Yeah.
And even though they seem to have a endless lifespan, it's not true. They're highly processed and dangerous for us.
Yeah, and they actually get rancid at the store.
Yeah, they're absolutely unnatural in the human diet, and people are buying them and using them for their cooking and baking, and like you said, keep them in the cabinet for ages. I cringe when I see that.
Yeah. And this is what it really started with these companies like McDonald's and, the fast food companies and, of course, all the manufactured foods like the TV dinners we were talking about. This is how they entered because they were a promise to these manufacturers reducing costs. Instead of using butter or lard, which is hard to keep, you have to refrigerate.
But very healthy.
But very healthy. Now you have to switch for something, you don't have to worry about refrigerating it. You can put it on a shelf. It goes rancid, it doesn't matter because we're not telling you that.
So to focus on healthy keto versus dirty keto, you want to focus on the nourishing and healing fats that we've just covered, like coconut oil, MCT oil, grass-fed butter and ghee. Ghee is clarified butter. Avocado oil and tea seed oil. She really, we're going to talk about that. She has really is supportive of tea seed oil. And honestly, I've never used it, but I keep adding it to my list and forgetting. Avocados, nuts, and seeds. She likes pili nuts. They're her secret weapon. And omega-3 fats from wild-caught fish and Alaskan fish oil. I do want to caution when we talk about nuts and seeds, we're getting into the field of PUFA, or polyunsaturated fats. But when we get into the coconut oil and the avocado oil and the monosaturated, and then yet even the saturated fats, I really like the fat that comes in. Comes built in by nature with the animal foods. Yeah, that's my favorite.
And one of the things that she mentions in here too is that the types of processed vegetable oils that we're used to seeing on those shelves are the new cigarettes. That's how bad they are. You can relate it directly.
That's exactly right.
So it's the number one thing that you need to get out of your life, folks. I
actually think there's so much focus on sugar, and one of the reasons I've always loved Ray Peat, I've learned wonderful things. I consider him one of my favorite mentors, is, you know, he says PUFAs are bad, the polyunsaturated fatty. But further, he's not against sugar. He says the reason sugar is bad is because we have the PUFAs.
Well, that's probably true. You know, if you're in the natural world and having some sugar, there's never going to be a problem because there's not enough of it.
Right.
So that's kind of how I look at it. If we, no matter how good the sugar is, if you start consuming it in mass quantities, you're going to be ending up in problems.
Well, and that's the whole point right there. And that's where we're going to go after we cover this, is when we consume anything in mass quantities, i.e. the concept of fasting and limiting time.
Yeah, okay, so let's go to number 2.
Yeah, conventional dairy. Conventional dairy.
This is something you stress all the time, especially conventional dairy in America.
Correct.
Because of the different cows that we have here.
Yeah, we mostly have the species that has all the research tying cardiovascular disease, inflammation in the body. You know, that's the A1 cow.
Yeah, and the reason that we went to those cows is because they grow faster, they have more fat on them.
There you go. We're always trying to take the cheap route.
Exactly.
Crazy. Yeah. And, you know, if you grow up in Europe, dairy would always be a part of your diet. And I have very fond memories and thoughts of being in Austria and seeing the cows on the field, on the grass. Yeah. They literally go out and they have cowbells, and someone will go out and do like a holler for them to bring them back in at night.
Yeah, and I had a conversation with one of my clients, and she always eats cottage cheese and stuff like that. She said, do I have to give up that? I said, you don't have to give up anything. The thing is, you know, why are you eating that? You know, the people who eat cottage cheeses and all these different kinds of curds don't have access to the meat that they used to have. So they invented different, this is why cheese, why do you think cheese is big in Holland? All the animals left. You know, they're on this peninsula, small, flat land where animals can't hide real good. We have a lot of deer there, but not a lot of other things. And so they come up with other things. If you go to the Russian steppes or the Chinese steppes and you follow those nomads there, they have 15 or 16 different kinds of cheese that's dried in all different ways. They've learned how to use these things.
But they've learned how to age it. They've learned how to use the raw milk. And, you know, if you've got someone who really loves cottage cheese, I say buy the raw cottage cheese at the market, or better yet, if you can't, get the regular organic and then add some raw milk to it so that the enzymes help you break it down, because that's really what you lose when you're eating conventional dairy.
But the point was that we were trying to replace what we normally would be eating.
That's a very astute point, Nico. I actually like saying that. Originally, much of the foods that we eat are starvation foods. I mean, you really woke me up, you know, 8 years ago when you're explaining that that's what rice and all these things were the places where there were a lot of people. That's right. The elite or the royals were getting the animal foods, and the masses were getting.
You can't shoot the king's deer.
Right, exactly.
Right. Yeah, so this is what's happened through our society. We've got replacements for them. The poor people always had these replacements. The rich people had them too when there was really bad times and they were in the caves.
Yeah.
I did.
So a lot of people like that about the keto diet. They can, start to have a little cream and so forth, but you really don't want to get into the process. Look for raw dairy if you're going to have it.
Yeah, and whole cream is still unprocessed.
Yeah, and the low-quality dairy that many people are consuming may actually be causing a lot of the gallbladder issues. And I think back with Dr. Marshall explaining that we have an epidemic of liver gallbladder dysfunction because we're eating fats. Remember, we're eating those trans fats, those rancid oils, and even processed dairy. Our body just says, what am I supposed to do with this?
And then we have all these substitute types of milk. Now we have the coconut milk and the almond milk and all that. Please, folks, if you're going to use that, use it like a medicine. Maybe take a couple of ounces if you need to, but there's no reason to take this stuff. You're trying to replace something that isn't healthy in the beginning.
Yeah. So, there's still mounting evidence, though. I do want to say that organic and pastured raw dairy is not only higher in anti-inflammatory omega-3s, but it can improve your metabolic health. So dairy is not discounted. It's just the right kind of dairy.
Exactly.
We'll continue when we get back.
We'd like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. The TAS Profile Scanner is the most revolutionary piece of trading software that you will ever try. Wouldn't you like to approach the markets with confidence? As you begin your trading day, it's likely that you'll be faced with lots of decisions. In order to make the best decision, the first thing you'll need is a strategy that will help you minimize your risks. Whether we're in a bull or bear market, a good strategy is to have the tools needed to help you scan and analyze the markets before you trade. The TAS Profile Scanner instantly scans and filters over 2,500 global financial markets, such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, president of TAS Market Profile, the TAS Profile Scanner understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications, automated trading algorithms, and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. Whether you're looking at the trade matrix, the ETF heat grid, the market breadth, the landscape charts, or the many other features of the TAS Profile Scanner, this is a piece of software that will revolutionize how you look at the markets and set up your trades. The team at TAS has even put together a 12-part video series to walk you through every aspect of the TAS Profile Scanner, which you can find directly on the TAS order page at tfnn.com. Sign up now for only $97 a month with a risk-free 30-day trial, so you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. See for yourself how you can harness the full power of the TAS Profile Scanner by visiting the front page of tfnn.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services section. Remember, with a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Don't let another day pass you by without trying out this amazing piece of software that will revolutionize how you look at the market and how you place trades. Sign up today.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
So we're talking about the five things that are bad in keto because of the quality. And the number 3 here is conventional MCT oil. MCT oil is the medium chain triglycerides. And I'd heard of them back in the 60s because some of the guys who were really training hard and doing the muscle man shots would use that 3 days before an event to lean out.
Oh.
So MCT oil is really good because it goes directly to the liver. It doesn't go through the digestive process, and this way it's available to make ketones, and then it starts burning your own fat also. So it's a product that can be very good, but the quality has to be there.
Exactly. What Naomi says here is it's a super fat, but many companies are using solvents like hexane and other toxins during the extraction process, and this degrades the health benefits.
And this is the same process they use for those vegetable oils. So these are the materials that go in to take the oil out, and there's natural ways of doing it, and that's much better.
And MCT oils go directly to the liver. You want to choose a pure and organic brand. Critical. She happens to, she created one. It's called Good Fat. So, there you go.
There's a lot of good ones out there now I use, and that's a good, reputable company.
And she says, she's like me. I was asked on a podcast that I did last week with some gals, what's the strangest thing in your purse? And I immediately thought about my little foods, my own little salt shaker. And often a little tiny container dropper with some of the oils that I prefer to use, because we do not know what kind of oils the restaurants are using.
Right, and I'll tell you, if you go out to eat and use MCT oils on all your food, it really enhances the flavor.
Yes, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So carry a little dropper bottle, of MCT oil. When they ask you, when they bring you a salad, just say, I just want a salad with a couple lemons or limes. Let them bring the lemon lime. You put your own MCT oil. There you go.
It's a beautiful thing.
That's right. Yeah, because those cheap oils are highly processed. And I think number 3 is not getting enough of your polyphenols.
Number 4, I think.
Okay, well, whichever
really
one.
matter,
Since you will be limiting certain foods when you're on this diet by nature of not having an appetite, right? I mean, we just don't have the appetite.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Well, also because we are watching things in season on a keto diet, much like
in the winter, you're not going to find
and in the summer you'll be finding a few things, but it's mostly in the fall where these foods come in, and that's when you'll be consuming them, and that's when you need the extra little bit of poundage to gain a little weight for the wintertime. It's a natural process. However, we eat a lot of fruits and vegetables here that are not even native and certainly not in tune with the seasons.
Well, I think the whole idea is, since we're kind of limiting our eating in general, we do want to make sure we're still getting the micronutrients. We want to eat a minimum of food to get the maximum of nutrition.
But
it's kind of simple.
There's another side that I always look at. Am I not getting those same things from the animals that are eating those things? And aren't they already processed for me? Now I don't have to ferment them. I don't have to do anything to them because the animal has done it for me, in a sense. So there's the balance right there. Yes, they're great, and we need them. And I think in the summertime is the best time to consume these things. And in the wintertime, we pickle them, we put them in jars, we do all kinds of things to them, and we keep them, we dry them, and we season our meats with them.
Well, there may be a reason that jams and jellies are called preserves. They might be preserving us.
Exactly.
They're preserving some of those deep pigmented polyphenols. So while there are over 500 polyphenols, some of the key players that I really like, and so does Naomi, are green tea. Eating high-quality green tea supplements or drinking the tea. Resveratrol, which is in wines and deep in grapes. Berberine and organic curcumin, or which you find in turmeric. And you think of the colors and those things right there alone, the pigments.
Yeah, so now we're really not talking about the modern day vegetables, folks. Well, we're talking about small amounts of things that enhance our food. To flavor them, to get these things in there. So we're not consuming large. I always tell my clients, think of these things like medicine. Think of, a little tincture of something.
Yes,
You have a little shot of something, you have a little bit of this, and you added that. You don't have a meal of it.
Exactly.
Okay.
I agree with you. And
All
then
right.
finally, enzyme support.
Okay.
If you're not using what you can't digest and absorb, and enzymes, the ability, the power to do work inside your body is crucial for all of us, no matter what the age. Sadly, as we age, our enzyme power does decrease.
Yes.
And the digestion should be first. And doctors and medical traditions throughout history have known that health only exists on a solid foundation of healthy digestive function. It becomes even more important as you transition to a higher fat diet.
Yeah, and also these enzymes are in the mouth, in the stomach, in the pancreas, in the small intestines, and of course the liver has something to do with that.
Oh, the liver is a huge part of digestion.
Yeah.
If you're not digesting your food higher up, then the liver is going to get congested. I think people always just think of the liver as something to do with alcohol consumption. The liver does so much more than just process
Liver and the
or alcohol.
kidneys are the cleansing of the body.
You're exactly right. And so I really do believe that we should all look at enzymes as a tool to help us get more from the food that we do eat, whatever it is.
And the other point is, too, of course, that we're consuming these things on small quantities. We have the staple, which is our meat, whether it's fish, fowl, doesn't really matter, or whether it's that animal that we have. But there are other things that also stimulate this whole healthy thing, which is doing the opposite of eating, which is really not eating, which is what we call fasting.
Exactly. And I thought this was apropos because it is really cold, and I thought, in fact, you really needed to be able to fast. There were maybe blizzards going on at different times.
Well, remember where the
people's
whole
lives.
genre of fasting came from. We're talking about the highly spiritual people who are leading us into health, let's say. So
Or leading
these
us to survive.
Yeah, and they had to learn it from, wait a minute, what went on before I was here? Before the religious leaders, there was starvation. There was periods when we didn't have a lot of food. Maybe your hunting went bad, you didn't eat. So the natural process was there. Now we accumulate in larger conglomerations, larger crowds. We go into a city, and now we have a leader that's telling us, go back. Remember when you were starving? We need to do this because this is spiritual. This is cleanse things. Just one of my ways of looking at it.
And I agree with you, Nico. I think any time that we're actually allowing our body to heal and cleanse is a spiritual event. So we've got a couple of things we want to cover. A couple more information from NaomiWhittle.com. I think she's a smart lady. And intermittent fasting, what is it and how can it benefit you? And then maybe we'll give you some other tips on why it's good for the microbiome, etc. And it might be a new word to some of you. But it's actually been around for many, many years in its simplest form. The word breakfast, which exactly means what it means, the ideology is it's to break the fast, to stop the fast.
Yep.
And even if the idea of fasting, intermittent or otherwise, is new to you, you are already doing it every night when you turn off the lights and go to sleep.
Yep.
The question is, can we extend it a little longer?
And we have found out through research that when you extend it, it has maximum benefits. It's that next 4 hours. Traditionally, we would fast normally from, say a 12-hour period. That's kind of natural. We sleep, and then we break, the fast. So if you extend that, we found real health benefits, and that's what we want to go over after.
Exactly, because this really is an ingrained myth, and because although USDA nutritional guidelines say skipping breakfast leads to weight gain, maybe it's not true. Maybe we might need to do it every once in a while.
Yep.
But we got to take a break.
We'll be right back. Pick up the Primal Edge, folks. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, oil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And welcome back to the show. So we're talking about fasting now, and people who propose that you need breakfast, otherwise you're going to gain weight. My experience is it has no effect whatsoever.
Yeah, no, it doesn't slow your metabolism, studies show.
Yeah.
And it doesn't wreak havoc on your thyroid.
Right. And for me, because I go to bed early and I wake up early, for me, missing breakfast would be ideal rather than missing dinner.
But I think that's the whole thing. You can either have breakfast and finish up earlier in the day, or you can skip breakfast and eat a little bit later. The key is to lower the window. Yeah. 6 to 8 hours max of an eating window, so that the rest of the time you're fasting.
Right.
And this kind of goes right in the face of what so many people in the supposed fitness world are doing, where they are teaching their clients and so forth to eat every 6 times a day. Okay, in 2.5 hours, they're setting their watch. They're packing the bags of snacks to eat every 2 hours.
And that makes no sense from living out in the wild perspective.
Exactly. And I can tell you, I read that great book. Remember I brought it up, the book Life Without Bread? I don't know why I can't remember the author's name, but Life Without Bread. Great science references. Interesting read. But the whole point is we're not supposed to eat that often.
Right, and there's a whole bunch of studies done to answer the riddle about skipping breakfast and weight loss. It does not slow your metabolism.
Right, as we said. And you know, in fact, if the breakfast debate seems confusing, you're not alone. And with some studies claiming that it's good for you and that people are healthier, you kind of wonder what to do. But there really is something else to consider, and I consider this kind of an interesting point. A tidbit of history about our morning meal. Breakfast was really not a tradition at all until the mid-1600s. Farming, right?
Right.
When Europe was introduced to chocolate.
Oh.
This led to a cultural consensus that liquid doesn't break the fast, which spiraled into breakfast becoming a tradition that started with hot chocolate, of course, and also deemed necessary for health.
Huh. Wow.
And that's about the time we, you know, started introducing foods that weren't natural, you know?
Right.
And then, of course, there was the Industrial Revolution, Nico. It was a massive shift to the notorious 9-to-5 schedule, which
because
brought
people
on
started working in factories, so 9 to 5 became the thing, and this is how, you know, we scheduled our work, and then we had to schedule our eating
Yeah,
around
we
it.
came up with the 3 square meals a day.
Right.
And as time changes, science evolved, and so must we. Perhaps eating morning meal is not the only way to begin a day. And perhaps breakfast with the fast, the sugary carbohydrates, isn't what our biology responds to. And I think
weren't
you
we
and I
brought
could
up
agree
on
to
that?
that.
I mean, that's when Kellogg's cornflakes entered our house, we changed our eating habits. My mother brought the box in. She could go start doing her chores. I
Right.
could pour my own. She doesn't have to make me bacon and eggs
And they
anymore.
made all kinds of cute little cartoons on the
That's right.
box to keep
And
you
then-
occupied.
And then it became worse because women had to go out and work. So and 2 members of the family had to support. So our whole society is based on
And
economics.
nobody was having those great breakfasts together
No.
anymore.
No, that's true. The children are off to school. You're eating by yourself, perhaps. They're eating on the bus, maybe.
But let's talk about fasting across religion and culture, Nico, because the truth of the matter is it's been used historically, you mentioned this earlier, for thousands of years for both medical, for religious, and for cultural reasons. Even our founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin in the 1700s, he eloquently and simply stated the best of all medicines are resting and fasting.
Yeah, he knew a thing or two. Fasting has been used as a medicinal tool to treat chronic conditions such as type 2 diabetes, other metabolic disorders such as obesity for hundreds of years.
It's so interesting when you read back about how in the 1800s they were doing fasting and they were cutting carbs. They were actually, they were doing these
And
kind
the
of things. They
reason
called
they-
it consumption.
And
Was the disease of eating all the foods of refinery.
yeah, exactly. So what they were really doing is forcing people into ketosis. Even back
Exactly.
then, even though they didn't say it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So interestingly, researchers are looking at the effects of fasting during certain holidays such as Ramadan and Yom Kippur on different populations. And they say it's perfect for modern day practices of intermittent fasting, which instead of an ongoing daily caloric restriction, breaks fasting into manageable chunks of avoiding food combined with periods of unrestricted eating. This is also known as time-restricted feeding, or TRF. Everyone's got to come up with a new
You gotta have-
acronym.
yeah.
Hey, do you practice IF or do you do TRF or
TRF,
TRF? Okay, so stay tuned. You know, there's going to be more talking about it. But time-restricted eating, Dr. Daniel Pompa, who actually is working with her a lot now, he's a real big fan of that. And what he says, and if we get to one of the articles he has, he says it's not when you do this diet, intermittent fasting, it's not that you're eating less. You're just eating less in a small, you're eating the same amount of food, but in a smaller window of time.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't really need to restrict the calories per se. You can still get all your meals in, and your food in, you just eat more.
Right.
But I find that I never want more.
Well, I think this is another way of restricting because if you're eating the way we eat, you get full at a certain time and then you just push the plate away. Whether you have finished the food or not is not part of the keto diet. I remember my parents saying, eat your peas and eat this and eat that. It was never the meat that, unless maybe it was liver in the beginning, it was really never the meat that I didn't consume. It was always the vegetables that I didn't want to finish. And then they make me sit there. After a while, they
I
stopped.
swallowed my peas like pills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's different ways of doing it. It's just we didn't like it. And, children really instinctively know.
Well, breast milk is 70% fat.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, did you know this was in an article in The Atlantic, the author makes an interesting observation that culturally, Europeans of the Middle Ages, which we both are European descendants,
Right.
shunned breakfast based on food's connection to self-regimentation. And indulging in breakfast was seen as a form of gluttony. Interesting,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Well, it's probably what they were eating, too.
Yeah.
The other thing here, she says, animals fast. Why shouldn't we? You look at the animal world, it's actually just as common for most animals to fast as it is to feed. In fact, all animals and humans alike are built to deal with some level of food scarcity. Just think of animals such as squirrels and chipmunks store food in their own bodies for winter by filling up on nuts and roots.
And bears who hibernate to withstand long periods of time with no food intake whatsoever. That's why I think this is the time of year, folks, to start experimenting with, introduce it in a small way. Start with a few hour difference in your food schedule. Maybe have a day where you just do fasting. We'll talk a little bit maybe about a water fast. I think that's a more extreme for it. But I do think we have to take a look at nature and animals, particularly when they're not well, will
particularly
ignore
when-
food. They will
that's
go
right.
off under a tree
Yeah.
and rest.
Yeah.
We really need to pay attention to what's going on. So when you should break the fast, knowing that the conventional knowledge of eating first thing in the morning might not actually apply to you after reading this, when is the right time to eat or to break your nighttime fast?
Well, when you're hungry is one reason to do it.
So intermittent fasting can be done in different ways, but research has shown that the major metabolic benefit truly comes into play after 12 to 36 hours of fasting, depending on the liver glycogen stores at the beginning of a fast. This switch that we're talking about is the point when the body switches over from using glucose or sugars as fuel to using the fatty acids and ketones as their primary fuel. So that's maybe what you want to aspire to, trying to do a 1 to 3 day fast. Yep. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back, folks.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks.
TFNN has put together the best lineup of live content for traders by traders every market day, featuring some of the most knowledgeable and respected minds in the business. TFNN broadcasts 5 days a week live from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We have live programming every market day during market hours. Every morning, Larry Pesavento kicks off the trading day live at 9 a.m. and breaks down the opening bell with Trade What You See. At 10 a.m., Tom and Tommy O'Brien host the TFNN Bull Bear Trading Hour, followed at 11 a.m. by the team at TD Ameritrade and Thinkorswim with Fast Market. Basil Chapman hosts the Tiger Technicians Hour at noon, Steve Rhodes at 1 p.m. with the Trader's Edge, Dave White at 2 p.m. with the Power Trading Hour, and Tom O'Brien anchors the daily lineup from 3 till 5 as host of the Tom O'Brien Show. Tune in to TFNN's Tiger TV on your computer or mobile device, and you can always find us streaming on YouTube. TFNN.com, educating investors.
And we're going to wrap up our little segment on the power of fasting. It's a new year, it could be a new you, and one of the questions we often get and other researchers get is, can I drink coffee while I'm fasting? And the answer is, maybe.
Maybe. It really depends. I think you have to take a little test afterwards. They say
Cheers to you. We're having a little coffee this morning.
Definitely a little bulletproof coffee here. Some people are more sensitive to, like, the creams or the additions to the coffee.
Or even some people, Nico, are just sensitive to the fact that the caffeine will stimulate maybe a little rise in glucose. But it really does depend on the person. But generally speaking, pure water, organic coffee, tea, and other non-sugary drinks are perfectly acceptable. But today let's just focus on the coffee, because some of us just don't want to give it up, especially when we get up at 4:30 to do a radio show.
Well, I'll tell you, coffee is a blessing. It tastes so darn good. It really, when you take it in, you can almost feel it working. And there's lots of evidence to say that coffee is one of the best fruits in the world, along with tea also.
Meaning that it has loaded with the polyphenols,
It's
right?
all those good good things that we want, and this is why it's revered around the world. And the sad part is that coffee is in danger now because of the changing climate. You know, with all these things happening, growing seasons are shorter, and the where
could
they're
have
growing.
mold and so
we
forth.
could have mold in it and things like that.
But for some people, actually, Nico, caffeine does increase cortisol, which in turn can affect glucose. Now that, and that I think has a lot to do with whether you're a slow metabolizer or a fast
And
metabolizer.
this is another reason why you can't, you know, if you have it too late in the day, you may not sleep.
Yeah,
because-
and there's some ways you can test this by having your coffee a half hour after testing your first glucose in the morning, and then test it again after your coffee to determine if it does do this to you. But what are the health benefits of drinking coffee while fasting? And, you know, there are some benefits, and let's go over those.
Well,
Here
we
are some of
talked
the
about the
stats.
liver.
Yeah.
We talked about the liver, and that's the cleansing. It's a 40% increase in the liver, the health of your liver.
Yeah, it reduces risk of liver disease 40%.
Yeah.
30% reduced risk of congestive heart failure.
And 24 to 60%, or no, 40% for type 2 diabetes, and 30% for Parkinson's disease.
Stroke risks are reduced, prostate cancer, Alzheimer's. So there's a lot of other health benefits. They don't just stop there. It can actually help your mental and physical performance. Fasting is a great tool to use to stay healthy, and tuning into our show will help you stay even healthier. So we'll see you
got that
next
right.
time. I'm going to Tahoe. See you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'll be there back next week. Bye-bye.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.